Well, Rachel, thanks for joining us and talking a little bit about your experience in the Doctor of Education program in the K-12 leadership track. Before we start, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a sixth grade educator currently in New Hampshire, and I am teaching social studies. I've been an educator for 26 years, spending most of my time in the middle grades. And let's see what else. I love it. And I actually was kind of wanted to do something like the doctorate program for a while, but I wasn't really sure what path I wanted to take. PhD versus EdD, locations, all of that. But that's definitely been something that was kind of on my mind for a while. And then I don't know if I would say I stumbled into the NEC program, but I learned a little more about it. And then that seemed to kind of be a really nice fit. And I was off.
Great. What years were you in the program?
I was in 2017 and I graduated 2020.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about your experience in the program.
I loved it. It was challenging. It was definitely a challenge. So if you're not going to be open to that, it wouldn't be really a good fit. I liked that it was all concentrated and that I had a kind of a beginning and an end date that I could work for. I also liked the flexibility of understanding that you don't have to, like, I was slated to graduate in 2020, but if I couldn't do that for whatever reason, it wasn't like, oh, that's not going to work, or you're not going to finish. There was no less than or greater than. That was just kind of the current timeline. So I really appreciated that. I loved the opportunities that were given. I loved the comprehensive project, being able to explore different things, tying in our dissertations and our research and all of our work, and all of the wonderful people that we got to be in. I think the cohort model is, I think, one of the best things that I got out of it. I definitely have some lifelong friends and people that I'm talking to every day, and they were just able to experience the same thing, trying to balance having a job during the day and walking through all of those and the current hurdles. And they were just kind of right there with you and supporting you. And I think one of the other pieces I loved was you folks allowed us to spread our wings. So as an educator, I don't have a whole lot of title power in my current role. However, I was allowed to kind of take some opportunities and say, hey, I'd love to do this. And you were like, yeah, let's do it. And let's try it. And you were open to the fact that we didn't know how it would go. It could go really well, or it could not. But you were still like, hey, let's try it out and see what happens. And I think that was probably one of the most liberating things for me, to be able to be given not carte blanche, because that's not right, but to be given opportunities and to say, like, hey, I'd really love to try this and try my leadership wings in a different realm, in a different way. I'm a teacher leader, although I don't like the word teacher, but educator leader all the time. But to be really kind of allowed the opportunities, like, let's try some things and let's just kind of see where it lands, I think was really empowering for me.
Yeah. So you kind of touched on this a little bit in that answer, but what would you identify as the strengths of the program?
Cohort example, the cohort model, I think, was huge. I really did love the dissertation, and the comprehensive project. I liked that much better than just like a comprehensive exam. I actually feel like it was more challenging, in ways, but it allowed you to either take a passion of yours that's different than your dissertation topic or kind of synonymous and explore it in a different way and find ways to share your knowledge. And I think that was one of the really huge advantages of the program, is you're not just trying to have us learn for ourselves, but okay, now you have all of this knowledge, how are you going to put it out there? And being a change agent was something that was there. But I think that was one of the most powerful pieces, was that your comprehensive project was supposed to take what you're learning and put it out into the real world. And let's get beyond theoretical and let's get into actual practical use.
Can you talk a little bit about what the dissertation process was like?
I really appreciated the fact that you were starting to talk about your dissertation from course 1 all the way through. So you might not have had any huge idea, but you were bouncing around ideas. And as you were in quantitative, you were going to try to frame some potential questions. And then you went into qualitative and you were trying to frame some other potential questions. And you were kind of massaging your topics and your ideas as you learned more about methodologies and theoretical frameworks and all of your courses. You were able to kind of bring it back to your dissertation and how can you apply this, or part of this can be a different lens to look at your topic through. And I think, again, that ties into the cohort model being a benefit, because everybody else knows your topic not quite as well as you, but they all know your topic. But then they're able to really ask knowledgeable questions and really help you find that niche for yourself, and that the part where you want your research to be novel and looking through it. And I think every course applied. And I liked that. And so then you had it all structured. So by the end of year one, you were kind of at this one major milestone. At the end of year two, you're kind of at another major milestone. And so everything was, it all flowed in a way that made sense.
So thinking back, before you started the program, so when your first course started in July of 2017, when you ended in May of 2020. So how did you change from the beginning to end as a person, as a professional?
I would say that I changed a lot in a lot of good ways. I am able to look from a more systemic lens at things. And I think one of the most powerful things was the more I learned, the less I knew. And I think that was kind of humbling, even as, a very veteran educator. There's so much more information and knowledge out there. And I think that was kind of humbling. And to be able to look at it from not necessarily an administrative lens, but to look at it from more of a leadership perspective, and that systemic perspective, and just hearing other people's experiences and being able to see like, oh, okay, maybe this is more the line of thinking, when sometimes you're like, what could they be thinking when they made this decision, and having a little more to that. And then I'm not sure everybody else always appreciates this from me a little bit, but asking for the research when you're saying, oh, this is research based, or, oh, we're going to do this. I do look at the back and look at the resources of who are we saying here and how are we basing all of this information? Where are we coming from this? Doesn't have to be quantitative, but what's our foundation? What's our knowledge for this and this decision, or this pivot that we're taking, so that I can read it and come to my own conclusions versus just kind of taking somebody's word for it. I think that's really important. That's what we want all students to be learning too. To not just take what someone's saying at face value, but to kind of have like a healthy critical lens to it, like thinking for yourself a little bit of there's more than one way to interpret any data.
Is there anything else you'd like to share regarding your experience with the doctoral program at NEC?
I would totally recommend it if you are willing to be challenged and thinking. I think it was the most positive experience that I had in a really long time, and it was hard to balance, didn't get a lot of sleep, and it was really powerful. And it shaped the way that I was as an educator in the classroom almost instantly. And I'm really proud of what I did and what I accomplished. I think there's something to be said for being able to be in a program that is so supportive the whole way through. And, I was really proud of what I was able to accomplish at the end, and be like, holy smokes, not only did I do this in like 3 years, but I did it while holding down a full-time job too. Drop the mic. I think that's what I'd say.
Thanks so much for taking time, Rachel, to talk to us a little bit about your experience of the NEC EdD program.
Thanks, Gavin.